Oh, nobody viewing yet, so just waiting for Rev to join. He is coming live from the Tommy Robinson, the court outside Tommy Robinson's appeal review. You know what I mean. So he'll be with us in a couple of seconds. I've just fired up the stream because I'm trying to do it on his phone. It's going to be a little bit of a nightmare, so I'm handling it for this end as per usual. All Rev's got to do is learn to click on this link. Yes, Lisa, I'm literally just waiting for Rev to arrive. So I'm just... and it gives a chance for a few people to come in, so he doesn't have to actually, repeat everything again. Because what's probably going to happen is he's going to come in here and he's going to go like that, and then new people are going to arrive in about 5 minutes, and then it's going to be even more times he's going to have to repeat it. So waiting a couple of minutes doesn't actually matter. I'm just going to mute myself while I call Rev. Fuck, I'll just call him. Oh. Hello, click the link, mate. I've already set the stream up and I've made it live so people can filter in so you don't have to repeat yourself 5 times. All right, bye. Coordination. Yeah, great, Cheppy. He's just about to join, as you probably heard, for that conversation. Lisa, you, for what I've heard so far, you are correct. Hey, Craig's got a good name. Best name in the world. Who's the grouchy guy? I don't know if you're referring to me. Come on, Rev, pull your finger out. Yeah, he'll just be on the second to verify everything. He was actually in the court. Oh. And a random thug-looking person has just arrived. No, not a thug. Defendant. I mean, you.
Who?
Well, you look like a defendant, don't you?
Well, if you know, well, maybe a little bit. Anyway, it's nice to see justice being done.
Just so you know, you've got 134 people currently, and the comment section...
Have you gone out in the family friendly?
No, I went out in the one where I can swear, because...
Oh, yes, we will. Yeah. Well, just so you can see, they are the Royal Courts of Justice. And I will try and show you. It's only a few people here. And so, yeah, just and the old Bill behind us, bless them. So, yeah. Right, far away, Shag. Let me just try and get this thing fixed in here.
Right, well, I think the first thing that's coming out of the comments section is, well, you know what? Give it a brief overview. You started giving me it before the live stream. Brief overview, what happened, how it panned out, and I think that'll answer most of the questions that people are wanting to know.
Right, yeah, simple enough. Got here, stood out, and I was led to believe that the judge was sounding, well, at least he liked what he was hearing, and he was questioning actually the legality of why Tommy had even been sent to prison, because what laws had he actually broken, because he hadn't reported on anything that wasn't already out there. That was the beginning of the legal wrangling, as far as I understand it. Mm-hmm. But we were sat out here, and I thought, well, you know, I'm wearing a suit, let's try and get in. So we did. And I just sat there, and the summing up, well, not the summing up, Tommy's legal team, the guy there was saying, well, what about this, what about that, and basically was going into which laws could have possibly been broken. There was a lot of conjecture over stuff, but it was looking very good. And he was summing up, and he was saying, look, even if you don't come out with the fact that he shouldn't have even been put down straight off, maybe the reduced sentence would be the case, and he's already served almost 2 months, which is effectively 4 months. So they said, well, okay, we need some time to think about this. They went away. I thought, well, this looks good. But then they came back in, and said, well, obviously this is a very serious case and we need time to deliberate. And I'm thinking, okay, they might decide to go back in because they were apologising. They might decide to go back in and come back in a couple of hours. I thought, great, pub across the road, ideal. However, not the case. What they said is, we need time to deliberate on this particular case, so we've got to go away and think, and hopefully we'll have an answer to you by the end of July. I was like, what? And Tommy was like, fuck's sake, there's a video link there, right? You can see him shaking his head, and sort of, you know that laugh of sick resignation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had one of them. And I'm thinking to myself, do I say something here? Because I really wanted to, and I thought, what I wanted to say was, so let me get this right. It takes you 3 hours from the bloke being on the street to him being in Her Majesty's custody, right?
Yeah.
And yet you've had all this time to prepare. Then you took longer because you needed more time to prepare. Yet the facts haven't changed here at all. And then when all the evidence is put in front of you, and it looks pretty much like you should be saying, all right, probably a mistake made here. Let's either reduce his sentence at least, if not quash his sentence. But that isn't the case. So they need time to go off and think about it. What it seems like to me, because other people have said, oh, they seem to be being very thorough and very fair. Well, I was talking to a barrister, or what the equivalent would be over in America, and he says, it's all pomp and ceremony and shite. Those wasn't his exact words, but I do like translating. And he said, in America, it would have taken half hour to get to the stage where he is, and all the details would have gone in there first. So literally, it's just been arguing over the finer points. But this doesn't seem to be the case. So they've got to go off now and do whatever it is they do, and in the meantime the bloke's got to sit in prison when he could effectively be innocent anyway. He's not innocent of reporting, but he hasn't reported anything that would have fucked the trial, if you like. It's a bit like we were allowed to tweet from the courtroom, which was quite amazing, but some freak still tried to get a camera out. You fucking idiot. Why don't you just do it live? Seriously.
10 to 10 for audacity, mate. You've got to kind of respect the balls.
Just fire up the live stream and ask the judges to come in a bit so you can get them in a picture, for fuck's sake.
Some pictures like that with the judges.
Mate, it's fucking unbelievable. But so that's where we are at the moment. And there's a female over there. She said, well, I've got to be honest, they're probably some of the best judges and the most kind and sympathetic ones I've seen. And I thought, well, if that's the case, the fucking hell's the state of our justice down here? Now, I had some Muslim guy come up to me, right? And he says, oh, incidentally, if you want to talk about justice, he says, I've been fucked so hard, right? And he's given me all this paperwork and stuff, so I've now got to see somebody else about this. Yeah, it's just amazing. But to say that people are pissed off here, I mean, it nearly went off this morning because some bloke on a motorbike with the burger van thing. Hang on a second. Yeah. So, yeah, some pizza delivery guy started trying to jeer all the Tommy supporters here, and that went incredibly well. I wonder if this UKIP bloke wants to come on.
Just one sec. Oh, you go and get him.
No, he's still here, but I don't think he'll be able to hear us.
Somebody was asking, did anything come out about his treatment while he was in prison? Has anything sort of, was that used at all? Did it come up? Because it's a pretty relevant point.
Yeah, it is, but I haven't seen or heard anything yet. Did I mention the fact that we were sat behind the Independent and watching what they were writing as they were going?
Anything interesting?
Right. Oh, yeah. Tommy sat there like this. Or somebody quoted it as that. Have you ever been so stoned as your head falls through your hands? That he wasn't stoned, obviously. And I can't understand why they didn't bring him to the court anyway, but obviously they didn't. So he's just sat in this room, and it doesn't look like he was being told anything. He was just annoyed. But good God, that's just the biggest set of tits I've ever seen. Sorry, mate, that just put me quite off my throat.
Well, no. Focus on the good stuff. Can you rotate the camera?
Oh, Jesus, mother of Christ. Yeah, so he was there, and she was saying, oh, he's laughing, and he's this, that, and the other. And he wasn't. He was just looking disappointed, to be quite frank. And then, as I say, when the judge said what he said, now Tommy's obviously been up in court a few times before and knows exactly what the crack was. He knows he was getting a bit more bed and breakfast. So he then shook his head. And, that was it. So people just started to leave. But it's amazing. Ezra from, what's his name? Ezra something or other. I had a picture taken earlier on. Yeah, that's the one. And he was busy literally typing it as it went. So I think you'll find on his media part, you'll have a full transcript of, because he was in there suffering all day long doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Just so you guys know, any messages that are coming through to Simon, obviously I'm not going to interrupt him speaking, but he can't probably see the messages right now. So, you know, it's like I'm kind of handling it this end.
I'm not ignoring you.
Yeah, it's not him ignoring you. It's me letting him talk and not cutting in, okay? But yeah, the short of it is, for anybody that's just arrived, and there has been a lot more people asking, we'll see about it at the end of the month. Now, just for you, Simon, I've brought up some interesting information that is completely not relevant but brings us into light, okay? Bearing in mind he was jailed in 3 hours, and they're saying they're going to need 2 more months to actually make their mind up of what they're going to do.
No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks roughly, yeah.
2 weeks, sorry, 2 weeks. The Anglo-Zanzibar War was won in 45 minutes. The Israeli, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq war took 6 days and 6 days, 6-day war. So basically, you can fit 2 Arab-Israeli wars in the time it needs for them to go.
So what you're saying here is, if you'll go GoFundMe for that P-52 bomber or whatever it was,
B2, yeah.
We could have lent Tommy Robinson this, and he could have finished the case off in 10 minutes solid.
Pretty much. There would have been a big crater.
Started to feel guilty and responsible. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, as you could hear, all the horns beeping. So many people are supporting, and also so many people telling us about their miscarriages of justice. This is not a happy place. So it's a beautiful place in there, and a very haunted place, I'm led to believe, according to the ushers and stuff. So yeah, amazing. But I'm glad I came up here to see it for myself. But it really is a case of, this is the way I get it, right? And you might not agree. It's the system saying, shut up, little man, this is your punishment. You stepped out of line, and we've just splattered you. You will learn your lesson, and let's be a lesson to all you other little people out there. Keep your mouth shut.
Well, it does kind of have that feel about it, doesn't it? It does have a certain political prisoner aroma.
It was always going to be 50-50 today, but only 25% chance of that. So anyway, but the truth is, it wasn't a no. That was a start. I think it will be a yes in 2 weeks' time, but it will be a yes after you've had another 2 weeks on your head. 2 weeks in the nick on your head could seem like a lifetime. The food in there is shit. 23 hours a day, bang up, right? I know, I've been there, right? It ain't great. The bunks are shit. Literally, it's just not the nicest place to be. And they're not air conditioned. Amazing, I know. So, yeah, because they can't make their mind up, he's got to suffer. And it seems like shit because really he should have been let out today. That's just the way I see it. Now, lefties all over the world are going to be coming in their pants on this one. But there again, when this eventually goes wrong for them, and they're up in there getting fucked over, they won't be laughing very much then, and it'll be like, oh, this is so unfair. Oh, but no, hang on a second, you laughed about the Tommy thing, didn't you? Yeah, you thought it was all fitting well because it wasn't you going there. Oh, fucking wasn't it pissed?
Somebody just said Paul Golding is out. I don't know if that. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm not up to date on everything that's going on. This kind of strikes me a little bit of the Dankula situation where they drag it out as long as possible just to make sure your arsehole's puckering. Yeah, your arsehole's puckering and you've got uncertainty the whole time.
Yeah.
Seems to be the technique.
It's because that's the best way of putting it. Because I think common sense prevailed, right? Because they're arguing. I mean, when the judge starts arguing, was he even legally banged up about that for reporting? Because what was he actually saying? It's a bit like me coming out here and saying, there's people in there, but I don't know what's happening. Because it's exactly what he said. So there's people in there that have been accused of this, but I can't tell you anymore because I haven't got any more. That's not giving you anything new, is it?
I just want to respond to somebody here. Martin, even British people voted for a Muslim mayor. What the fuck is going on? You do have to understand that London isn't actually a British place anymore, right? I mean, I met a white Cockney 2 jobs ago, and I think he might be the last one. So
yeah, he was lost. What it was.
The last white Cockney, and he was found in Scotland.
You pronounced it wrong anyway. It's Cockney. Yeah, found eating jellied eels and tell you about the old days. Go blimey.
Oh god, it was a classic one. They had the swagger in the arms and all that stuff, and it was just like, mate, can you speak without a pebble in your mouth? Fuck off. It was a bell end. Some cockneys all right, some no, some.
So before, because there's not a lot more to say about this one at the moment. One thing I will say is, I know you personally don't get on very well with them, so I'll let you guess who it was. The people that were up here reporting.
Oh yeah.
Have a guess.
Yeah, the Dachshund boys. I mean, MAGA. MAGA.
Now, as I say, I don't personally have a problem with the guy. I talk to him all the time here. Went over and had a pint and stuff, but obviously he hasn't done anything wrong to me, so I can't say anything about him. It's just you personally have experience. 1 second. Fuck off. How'd you get hay fever in a place of bricks? Oh, don't worry about that. It's only a live stream.
Well, yeah, and you'll get dust and everything up your nose. I mean, God, going to London Underground for 10 seconds, mate, and you're like this.
The police were trying to give him 3 months for that support Trump thing. He spent 3 phone calls of ages trying to explain to them that it was you lot that said I could be here. I went through all your rules, and they were trying to do them on a section. Is it 40 something? 40, I don't fucking know. One to 35 anyway. So he argued their law. I'm going to try and get him on in a bit anyway. Actually, let's see if he's about.
Grab him now, and I'll be nice.
Wait a second. Luke? Luke? Oh, all right, buddy. Just 2 seconds, mate. I'm live here. Luke, do you want to tell us about your little bit of trouble? I'm live at the moment, mate. Come around here, mate, because I'll both get on camera.
Oh, it's much bigger than me.
Yeah, you'll have to. You won't hear it.
I'm a midget.
Luke's only diddy. So
laughing he is.
It's a little bit Lilliputian.
Hello. Right. So Luke basically put on a pro-Trump rally the other day.
Yes.
And what did the police say to you?
The police contacted me saying, "Oh, nobody's going to a rally, Luke. Just call it off." And you know, this I said to them is not an order, is it? This is encouragement. And I think they presumed I didn't know anything about law. Unknown to them, perhaps. I studied law for 4 years, so I know the difference between an encouragement and an order. And I said, "Oh, is this actually an order?" And like, no, we don't have that authority. So I said, "The people are coming. Here's the Facebook link. Go and have a look." And it's got about 12,000 people as interested. Some people was going, and people did turn up. So I refused to cancel this. Yes, I said we're going to upset a lot of people if we cancel this, and we're actually going to cause chaos. You know, if you're going to have a rally that I've called, let me go there and help organise it, because you've got less chance of trouble.
Were you aware of the Section 43s they were giving out to everybody on their way to your rally?
Yes, I was, and I think there is Section 12, and I think they also wanted Section 14. They were going to force both Section 12 and 14. Now, Section 12 means you can't have a march or procession. Section 14 means you can't have assembly, so you can't have any speeches. And they said that they wanted to enforce both of these. So Section 14, if that's enforced, would mean as the organizer of such an assembly of speeches, you would go to prison for 3 months. So that was effectively a threat. Pull it back from this, or you're going to prison for 3 months. So we refused. I got Freddie Batch, the London UKIP chairman, to join that with me in a phone call with them, and said to them, "We're not backing down. We'll take you to court. We're going to sue you, because Section 14 should only be enforced if there's a threat of violence." And I had never threatened violence. I'm very peaceful, so I feel they had no ground to do that. Antifa, or whatever you want to call them, some alt-right, the group was saying they're going to campaign against the alt-right, which is not really us, and said they were going to come out there. And if there's anything that a Section 14 should be placed on, it's them, because they were the ones going to cause violence. So we threatened the police with that. They backed down on Section 14 and said they're not going to force that. So then they're saying, "But you still can't go there." Right. They're saying, "Well, no, you seem again to think I don't understand the law, because this means we can't have a march. We can still have a peaceful procession. They enforce Section 12, can't have a march, more than 2 people waving a British flag, American flag, one of these hats, a pro-Trump banner, a pro-Tommy banner, and the list even said a pro-me banner. There aren't such things. So these people don't know what they're talking about. But so anyway, any of these things would be a crime, and anyone waving them would go to prison, get a fine for 200, and the organizer would go to prison for 3 months. So basically, we had to cancel a procession. We wanted to march over to the Tommy rally, and we couldn't do that because the area in between had all been marked off for the Antifa protest.
Sent everybody around the houses.
Yes.
And the only reason I got through was dressed like that, and they thought I was somebody else, right?
Yeah,
Or
they
just
thought you
"Oh,
were
that must be a
MP,
professional."
the policeman.
Somebody not a Tommy supporter. So we managed to get all the way through there. So it was amazing. But so you managed to get yourself out of this by explaining that you weren't an idiot and knew the law. So now they just got the ump with you, basically.
Oh,
And from now
yes,
on,
it was a little
you're-
bit tricky, yes.
You're a bit fucked. They'll be trying to catch you out on anything.
Well, they came up and shook my hand today and said they hope that we, like, they didn't say we're still friends, but it's kind of what they basically said, that they hope there's going to be no hard feeling. And they're like, we're surprised you shook our hand. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be a child about this, you know, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I think you've done something wrong, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to throw a tantrum. That's not going to help. They're still going to try and work with you. But no, I don't think the police have done the right thing here. And Freddie and I are considering whether to sue them at the moment. But there might be grounds to try and get some compensation. But, you know, that would take years probably, and probably get some token amounts, which is worth it for Sadiq Khan
They
to
work
pay.
on this sort of thing, don't they?
Yeah, it was probably worth it for them anyway, for the nuisance it caused us.
Unbelievable. Well, there you go. You have it.
Yes.
The police are always supporters of patriots and always trying to help us, especially with directions to marches.
Yeah, welcome to Sadiq Shithole, where if you support patriotism, if you support Trump, you get in trouble. Whereas if you want to be of Antifa, you know, Soros is Gestapo and run around smashing people in the head with a mask on your head, that's absolutely fine, apparently.
Now, you're on YouTube and you're on many other sites. You want to say which ones you're on?
Okay, you can find me on mbganews.com. It's Make Britain Great Again. That's our political group. And we're also Red Pill Factory on UKIP and YouTube and Facebook. I don't think we took UKIP over. I don't know about that one, but
Anyway, about that later.
they're not fighting anyone.
But apparently,
What a wonderful idea. Oh, sorry.
we're all fascists anyway. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's the social media dealt with. Anything coming up?
We're going to go and have a rally. I'm going to get in trouble for this. We're going to go on a fuck Zuck rally. So we got fed up with Zuckerberg who runs Facebook, and we basically wanted to F off because basically he keeps deleting everyone's post on Facebook and deleting pages and calling us all bigots.
Shadow banning.
Yeah, so we
all the
had,
rest of it.
yeah,
Apparently, if you've got an opinion, you're fucked. Well, unless it's the right opinion.
yeah.
So you've basically got to say Hillary's great, Sadiq Khan's great, immigration is great, open borders are great.
Yeah,
white
yeah.
people are bad.
Basically, and I also you can't criticize paedophiles. You can't
Well,
criticize
obviously, because
pedophiles.
Really,
Well, if you don't,
essentially, in the eyes of the law, what are they doing wrong?
5 migrants a day, then you're just a racist.
Yeah, well, everyone's a
Did I
racist
say
these
that out
days.
loud? Oh, this is not family friendly.
It's a badge nowadays. If somebody calls me a racist, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck
Well, it's
anymore.
false meaning. It's just a weak ad hominem attack. It means nothing anymore.
It's so completely inaccurate. It's boring. Well, I'm going to see if I can get a word with Janice now, since she's here, see what she says.
Yeah, go for it, mate. I'll just talk
Hello,
to
you.
this side
Well,
chat.
no, we'll have a chat to you if you're right.
So let's
You've got 5 minutes.
going to be polite and let this beautiful lady take over.
Right, well, I won't shove this in your ear because actually he's not saying anything. He's not.
Oh, this is Janice. We're maybe getting her on for that live stream,
Right.
aren't we?
Can you hear all right there, your end?
Yeah, man. Sounds fine, actually. There's
Right.
not even much background noise.
So just quickly, you've had a bit of fun the other day in the European Court, didn't you? Because you started coming out with facts about stuff like this. And what did they do?
They shut me off. But
Fancy
this
that.
is the 3rd time in 2 months, and I raised an urgent human rights issue, which is the time to do it on a Thursday, just before votes, and I was granted the time to speak by the President of the European Parliament. And as soon as I uttered an urgent human rights issue for a political prisoner in the UK, Tommy, and I didn't think I even got Robinson out. And then, but what you didn't see was the furious exchange I had with Ashley Fox,
Right.
MEP, who is
So
the leader of the Tories.
Good, lovely, yeah. So it didn't go very well in that respect. And would you say that they're obviously trying to mask what's going on here and just basically shut the whole Tommy thing up because they know that it's, well, essentially wrong?
Yeah, they're trying to shut it up because people like me have come out in support of Tommy, Geert Wilders, Marine Le Pen's party, Blams Belang, you know, basically the equivalent of UKIP or For Britain that sits in the European Parliament. And they will cut off our oxygen and our common sense at any time that they can.
Look at him. Now, you basically want to get us completely out of Europe, don't you?
EU, not Europe.
EU. Sorry, get
Europe
that
is
right.
a wonderful place.
No, Europe is. It's just that bloody organisation over there that's well, unaccountable and, well, I think they're a bunch of dictators, but there you go. So you're basically over there most of the time. And I have asked you to come on when you're actually free because you're very busy and you're going to do a live stream and tell us all about it in more detail about the dodgy dealings and everything that goes on over there because this lot I'd love to hear about it. So
Yeah, absolutely. make it in the next week and we'll do it, yeah?
Okay, right, you've got that, Ruff. Put that in the diary,
I'm
mate.
going to hold that till I will put time aside and
Right,
make
yeah,
sure.
you can't hear him. He's holding you to that now. He's going to write that
No,
down.
in fact, actually, we'll put something in the diary now because
Okay, she's putting it in the diary.
I'm going to be offline for a couple of
I'd
months.
tell you, it was worth the trip up here. It really was. So, yeah. Hang on, audience, people. How many people are watching, mate?
We're live.
834
800. Fucking hell.
and
So, there's
34.
834, that's the biggest stream yet. Right, okay. So it's Reverend Simon Sideways. Have you got a pen?
We're so professional.
Because I've already got your number, so I can talk to you via that. Yeah. So if you just put in whatever day it's you can do, it's going to be comfortable for you, a live stream.
What's your telephone number?
Right, I
Because
can't.
I've got two appointments.
I'm going to message you because I can't say it on here. This is 800 people watching.
No, and we'll do something in the next few days.
Yeah, I'll message you shortly. So in the next few days, Ruff, I'll get back to you, and you lot, you've heard it yourself. We're going to get some real juice. Okay, that's
And
lovely.
dirt from the Parliament.
Thank you ever so much. You're a
You're
star.
very welcome.
Right, let's go back to this. Have we got anybody else here that wants to come over? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, have a wee walk around. When you've got an audience
It
like
is,
that, you
David.
might as well just go on Hobnob, get some biscuits.
Right,
and have a wee
let's get David Vance on, if you will.
crack on, my
David, hello.
I
What
was
do you
just
make
hunting
of?
for a job.
Are you all right to go on live stream? Right, if you just come around here because they can see you. Well, what it is, I can see if you're in focus and all the rest of it. Now, you won't be able to hear what he's saying, but he's all right. He's just looking after it. What did you make of what's going on here?
Well, I think what we see is essentially the state making sure it covers its tracks. So it took, 4 hours to convict Tommy and put him behind bars,
Yeah.
and it's taken how many weeks?
They put it back as well.
And then they've put it back for another 3 weeks.
Yeah, because
So,
they weren't organised. So I'm assuming that they would have been organised by today.
yeah, I mean, this is the Royal Courts of Justice. Some might say it's the Royal Courts of Injustice.
Well, somebody wanted to put the IN up there to make sure it's more
that's
accurate.
that's a bit dismissing. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unbelievable. And I think it's just a message to that little bloke in the street. Don't cross them. You know,
Well, that's absolutely right. Essentially, they're using Tommy Robinson as a warning,
Yep.
which is to say, do not transgress the areas that we've defined as you mustn't go into.
we're in charge of media. We're in charge of what goes on. You will not say anything we don't want you to.
Yeah.
And here's the punishment if you do.
But, yes, exactly. But yet, so you look at the punishment meted out to Tommy Robinson
Mhm.
and the punishment meted out to those whose crimes Tommy was trying to bring to the public's attention. The paedophile rape
Yeah,
gangs.
can't go to
Where's
court.
their punishment?
Yeah, or when they go to court, can't be convicted or given a custodial sentence because their missus doesn't speak English. And what?
Well, correct. And even those of them who are brought to court, in many instances, maybe 2 or 3 out of the whole group will be actually the ones who go to jail, and another 50 walk away. So there's fundamental problems in this country, and Tommy Robinson ain't one of them.
No, it's not. I mean, this is a bloke that's just trying to point out the obvious. The obvious that's been covered over. And because he's doing that, they're making him out to be obviously the racist and all the rest of it. But they're scared that he's actually going to expose something that the public are going to go, hang on a minute, why aren't we dealing with this? And where does this go to? Where does it lead to?
Well, that's exactly the bigger point as well. The substantive issue here is that for decades in this country, we've had this serious cancerous problem growing.
Yep.
And Tommy Robinson has brought it to the more general public's attention. And that raises many awkward questions for those who presided over that. So,
Yes.
you know, rather than Tommy Robinson being within this
In
court,
question.
I'd like to see all of those within the establishment face justice for what they've done.
Yep.
That's what needs to be done.
All the way through time. I mean, things like, I keep going back to the things like the Guildford 4, the Birmingham 6, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
All those misjustice. You've seen the films that came out from it.
Yeah.
What happened to the people after that? It was all brushed under the carpet. That's absolutely wrong. I mean, people now look at the courts of justice and go, oh, we're going to get knackered in here. We're not going to get a fair trial. And that's why I thought I'd come here. I was hoping the guy would get out, but I thought in the bottom of my heart, I thought, they're going to nail him. They're going to do something.
Yeah, they are.
And what they just said is, well, we can't keep him there, but what we'll do is we'll prolong it by saying we can't make our minds up.
Yeah.
Which to us says exactly everything we need to know.
Yeah, they made their minds up a long time ago with
Yeah.
Tommy Robinson. And I think it is, you know, a question of a signal to the broader country just watch your step because you might be next.
Exactly. Anyway, lovely to talk to you, my friend.
Pleasure
And,
to
and
talk
at
to
some
you as
point,
well.
we'd like to get you back on for more stuff because I follow you on Twitter, and so does everybody that I'm with. So yeah, great stuff.
My pleasure.
No
Thanks
worries.
very much.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Say hi for me as well. Oh,
Right. Look,
good
I have this proof to point to you that I'm not that small because I've had to lower the camera for 2 people now. All right. Fuck me, at all.
I'm sorry, but there's been a lot of comments about Hobbiton and various other things in the side chat.
I'm a little pixie. Yeah. So what else we got? I might see if I can grab Ezra on the way out in a minute. If I haven't died of heat exhaustion, because this is an absolute bloody sun trap here.
Hey, do me a favour, mate. Drop that camera. Let me see that tie.
Why?
That's what I see. It actually looks like it's not bad.
Yeah.
That's a nice
But
tie.
thanks. Don't look at the shoes because apparently, according to our friend, she knows who she is. She doesn't like the shoes. They look like somebody who was skint just out to try and look posh for an occasion, but didn't have a lot of money. Which I'll have you know is bollocks because these were expensive shoes. I'm happy with this.
Yeah, you don't want to see the shoes, as somebody said in the side chat, because you're standing on a box. I did
Anyway,
actually drop the truth about you have a booster seat in your truck as well.
get fucked. Get absolutely fucked. Fuck off all the way. When you're done, come back so you can fuck off over there again. That's how I'm feeling. I drive these hard miles.
A few people are asking for recaps now. Basically, it's been put back 2 weeks as the crux of it. No, nothing's going to come out for 2 weeks.
No. It was almost like, yeah, we want to give our result, but we would like to leave him in there a little while longer. And under this particular situation, we can blag it and say, well, we need more time to deliberate, and then effectively keeping him in for another 2 weeks. To me, it's bollocks. It shows contempt of him. And it actually, to me, it's like this to the British public. We're the boss here, not you. That's it. So that's how it seems.
Yeah, it's definitely got that feel to it. It's definitely got that feel to it.
Definitely. Right. I'm just wondering, is there anybody else we could stitch up here?
Well,
Joe Patton over there, but he's not exactly me, mate. But...
well, you could have a crack at it. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? He's going to go, you're not Sargon. Go away. Shoo, shoo.
Sargon.
Yeah, he's probably too busy looking after his wife's dinosaur.
I'm
not. Sorry.
There's a lot of people over there with their cameras in his chops. So,
cuckoldry is the intelligent man's fetish.
What?
Sorry. I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, you keep ad-libbing at the moment, and I'll see what comes up. What's the comment saying at the moment, mate?
Oh, it's the usual. It's kind of questions that we're just not going to be able to answer. Is there going to be compensation? What's actually basically they're asking for details that just aren't really out there.
You can't at the moment because you first have to have this result done before you can go on to the next level. Now, I would suggest that if you don't go for compensation, that's an admission of your own guilt. So it's kind of something you've got to do anyway. And not just that. There's a lot of people that are backing Tommy at the moment and paying for this, and they'll want to see more justice, if you like, because it's not just good enough saying, actually, it's like you're going to go, I'm not wrong, am I? And eventually they go, well, actually, you're not wrong. Right. Well, if I'm not wrong, you are. But without going for the compensation, you're not actually saying you're wrong. You need to be held accountable for this. It's like saying, well, cheers for that. Now I'll go off quietly, which.
Yeah.
I can't actually see that happening myself.
I don't know how long they can keep pushing this because tensions are already rising. And
I thought you meant the stream.
No.
How is that?
I mean, this
There's
whole
a pub over there.
situation. No, like I say, you're on a roll. I'm not doing anything that important right now. Yeah, I mean, the political situation with the tensions rising and all that kind of stuff, all they're doing is making a Nelson Mandela without all the dead bodies and terrorism. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, a lot of people said
Nelson Mandela was a terrorist. Come on, let's face it. You look at his history, he had more bodies than a fucking graveyard on him.
Well, he wasn't just a terrorist. Apparently, he's very irresponsible as well. So I found out. He put a lot of people who shouldn't have been put in jeopardy. I mean, you'd have to be somebody who takes risks to marry Winnie Mandela.
Yeah, pioneer of the tire necklace, just in case anybody wasn't aware of that. A fine South African tradition.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about that necklace thing, aren't you? Yeah. Before long, mate, they'll be dishing that sort of justice out of here. Yeah, lovely, guilty. Get the
Yeah.
tire out. You got the fuel,
put it
haven't you?
past the Tory party. Oh, look, got the tyre around his neck.
I reckon this live stream's going to get me arrested. So that's okay.
I don't think so. We're only having a laugh. We've not said that they're really good.
I don't give a fuck.
What court is that?
It's a big one.
We've established that.
It's called the Royal Courts of Justice. Hang on a second. Look, I'll see if I can get you some visual here.
Yeah, what town?
What?
What town?
It's in fucking London, man.
Right, well, people are asking. I thought that's where.
Oh, right, sorry.
I didn't
I know there's Royal Courts of Justice in every court. Look, it's a long time since I've been to court, and it wasn't through a Royal Court of Justice. I was never that good, or bad, or whatever. But yeah, this is the main place, and that was the head honcho apparently, because this is an inflammatory case.
Yeah, I'm just going to say something to Crazy Dingo. Vote this madness out. Madness out. May has to go. If you think that the Labour Party is going to be any better, or the SNP or the Liberal Democrats, it's like you're going to have to. All I'm saying is think very careful about who you vote for next time, and ask, are they going to keep doing this shit? Because I've just given you a list of parties that will do it with a smile.
You know when you finish.
I will do. Like just live at the moment. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yep. So. It will get worse. What is it? Somebody said if things don't change, they'll stay the same. But that was not the case. It will get worse. Things don't get better unless there's a good fucking boot up the fucking ass of them up there by us on the here. And people are waking up to it anyway. And even these ignorant, self-serving, egotistical, narcissistic, you can think of a few buzzwords if I miss any, right? People who serve themselves do not want to wind the British public up so much that something bad could happen. I want to say something bad, that everybody start all coming together and saying, you lot don't serve us, you serve yourselves. I mean, the fallout from that could be worse.
Do you think it's a possibility that they want to rile the people up so that there is violence, they can use it as an opportunity to crack down and do a lot more arrests?
I'll be honest, I think that was the case to start with, but I think they're running out of bottle. I actually think that was the case. They thought, right, we'll wind these fuckers up, right, and we'll do a few things, and that will work quite quickly. And then basically, we can then crack down and put more draconian laws which say that you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, we'll take this away from you. But as people are starting to get wound up, and the very thought that these cunts could be held accountable, all of a sudden they're going, I'm not sure I've got the balls to see this one through. So nobody thought that things like the Tommy stuff would come about, that people would like Trump so much, that people would start voting for, say, for Britain and UKIP and all of that sort of stuff. They never saw this. They just thought it was going to be a lot more, I don't know, unchallenged in that respect.
I want to just put out a comment there from Iron Duke, more for the audience, and I think he's speaking a lot of sense. UKIP for Britain and the Veterans Party need to make an electoral pact and not to run against each other.
I do think that something like that, I'm talking in the back channels to people. Now, I know the branch of friendship, if you want, has been handed out from one side to the other. The other side are they're looking at them and they say, well, we know all about you and how you act, and we're not too sure actually we won't have anything to do with that under the current situation. But there are there is time before then, but I would imagine that things will happen like this and other things that will force their hand. And eventually they'll have to put the differences aside perhaps and come together. Or one party will just surge ahead. Now, after speaking to Anne-Marie and know what her plans are, I don't go into details, but there's going to be a lot of changes in that party. And some of the criticisms that people have had...
Smokey Steve just gave you a super chat telling you to stop swearing. I don't know if that's for me or you.
Who did?
Smokey Steve.
Smokey's the one in the server.
Smoked Steve,
Fuck off, you swear like a trooper, you tosser. Yeah. Anyway.
He's worse than me.
I have that. Right, anyway. So, unbelievable. So, yeah, I think that the situations will force people's hands to come together. I mean, that what was the part you were talking about? I can't remember the name of it.
The Veterans Party, UKIP, and for Britain.
Very good speakers in the Veterans Party, and they've already served their country, haven't they? So
yeah, veterans do tend to be, ex-military tend to be good speakers, full stop. They know their stuff and they know how to make clear, concise messages that do the job. I actually am a big fan of the military and the veterans of this country, and if I had my way, I would like them all to be in office, all people in office to have done service to the country. But
I like what they're saying. I do like what they're saying, but they've got miles to go yet. They're not being given any press coverage at all anyway. So, yeah, as I say, by the time we get to, say, voting time, we need to have our shit together, because we can't allow the two parties to win. Otherwise, that's it. If they get in, that we're fucked. Totally and utterly buggered. And
get some of the veterans on if you can, then, and we can have a chat with them. And get
I'm going to have a chat with the main man from there. Did I also mention that, I probably haven't told you, we've got an interview with the guy that's running UKIP over in Northern Ireland. We've got numerous other people we're going to go and see, because we're going over there in a couple of weeks. I wasn't going to announce it, but I am, because, you know, it needs to be said. And we're going to get some very, very interesting information from some people who we're talking about, political leaders, councillors. We're talking about people who are businessmen. They won't be putting their face on camera because it will affect their business, but they know exactly what's going on with this hidden immigration thing that's going on over there. I mean, I've already been told that there's over 1 million immigrants that are part into the country, that one's being kept down. There's enclaves going on over there. Also, the other thing is, he's telling me there's paramilitary, but ISIS paramilitary training out in the country, because we know that the IRA, going back to the 70s and 80s, went right into Southern Ireland, right in the middle of nowhere, and had a training camps there. Well, it seems, from what this guy's got some evidence, that ISIS are now doing this. And he said that on the weekends, they're actually actively recruiting in the fucking market. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and get some footage of that.
Yeah.
So,
Duke just said, you know, we should need to speak to Simon Harris, and it's like, we've been trying to get hold of the guy.
we could have somebody here from, would you like to comment on what you thought about that over there? Do you want to come around here? And they can hear you fine, but what is it you thought of what you've just seen there? Hang on.
I believe the Lord Chief Justices are preparing to perhaps return a decision at the end of this month, which will be to reduce the sentence substantially and to sentence Tommy perhaps to time served by the end of the month.
Yeah,
which will bring it logically into. Well, I couldn't hear very much of what the counsel who was. Well, neither counsellor, they're not in a completely adversarial position in this case. Each of them is advising the court, so to speak, about the merits and demerits. But the one who was, let's say, arguing for the status quo, I had some difficulty hearing him, so I may be being, he was mumbling. And it would be too impolite to suggest he was mumbling because I didn't believe what he was saying himself. That would be very impolite, and I'm never impolite.
No.
I'm never impolite. However, the other gentleman whom I do know is ably presented a case, especially after the recess for lunch, where he entered into a fusillade of points, which were, many of them were known to me in advance, one or two new ones. I have given this matter some thought. I'm not a lawyer. I'm an honest man. Those
You're
two
obviously
statements,
somebody who's seen
those two statements are not connected.
right?
What I can say is, let's assume, as a starting point, that he was done bang to rights in Canterbury.
Yep.
And that 3 months was a good sentence to give him, suspended for 18. Let's even say that we'll forget the suspension, which actually makes it a smaller sentence in reality. That would be equivalent to maybe only a 2 or 1 month immediate custodial.
Yep.
But let's even stick it at 3. What he did outside Leeds was far less serious. The only bit which really made me say, oh, no, 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 was when he started to talk about prison bag to one of the people entering who was clearly a defendant.
Right.
Had a member of the jury seen that? Actual prejudice could have been easily argued by the defense. That means mistrial. That means not only enormous cost to the taxpayer, but furthermore, it means that we are going to have the, I'm allowed to say victims now because I believe there has now been convictions in those cases.
Right.
So victims, otherwise alleged victims is correct, will have to go through the whole thing again in a fresh trial.
Yep.
Because in this case, there is no way the trial is going to be dropped if there's a mistrial.
Yep.
It's a serious matter and it will be again litigated. Therefore, we have the Leeds contempt being worth, say, and I'm making this number up, worth a month.
Yep.
Much less serious than Canterbury, which was 3 months, if that.
Okay.
3 months suspended, which is less than, effectively that means less than 3 months.
Yep.
It's a more lenient sentence. So, but times it by 2 or 3, let's say by 2, because it was an offence committed while under a suspended sentence,
yep.
and of the same sort of type as well.
Yep.
Both are exacerbating factors, even though in itself, the actual contempt was, in my opinion, less. And I had a lot more time than the learned Judge Marson, who I've written to,
right,
about this, then he had to examine it.
Did he respond to you?
No, I didn't expect him to respond.
Okay.
I wanted to bring his attention to it, and also about whether any pressure had been brought by the executive on the judiciary in terms of the amount of sentence required.
Right.
I would sincerely hope not, but better to say it. Well,
okay. You imagine
they're
there
all
could have
honourable
been.
men.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm sure an honourable judge would, even if he thought there was a suspicion of that, would investigate it himself,
right,
and bring further contempt proceedings against anyone who had, in fact, had such contact. Because the judiciary, the separation of the judiciary, our entire legal system hangs upon this.
Okay.
So, let's come back to the maths. So he's got 3 from Canterbury, and he's got 1, but we're going to double it.
Yep.
5 months for in total.
2.5 out.
So 2.5 out, and there you go. And Bob's your uncle, because it will be 2.5 at the end of July, give or take.
So that's why pretty much they've gone.
Of course, that is simply speculation.
Clearly, on my part.
Simon, can I
And on
cut
your
in,
part.
mate?
You led me to it.
Yeah,
Do you want me to be arrested, sir?
No, I wouldn't.
Are you not
in
on the side of freedom of speech on your channel? We believe you're a good guy.
Freedom of
You've got a
speech.
feeling with
We're going out like
Simon,
I'm
introduce
quite aware of
him.
that.
Nobody knows who he
I'm
is,
aware of the
and
degree
people
of your
are
deception. Only to inform you of that now.
Include, yeah, I just.
I'm the regional chairman of UKIP in London.
Lovely, because this is
And
why we do
we-
want to find out who you
and-
were. Yeah.
My name is Freddie Barcher, and I do believe freedom of speech is very, very important.
Yes.
And justice has to be seen to be done as well as being done. Now, our government, I'm quoting somebody else here,
Yep.
who put it far better than I could. I'm not gifted with fluency of speech. However,
Are you sure?
I'm certain, I'm absolutely certain my tiresome prolixity is what I have, not my fluency. So, it's a very important principle. This government, more than other governments, is excellent at dealing with secondary causes of problems. Secondary problems, indeed.
Rather than addressing the
The
main.
primary ones, they turn a blind eye to and make us fools into thinking we can't see it. So I must ask that wretched creature in Whitehall, that harridan who pretends she's a prime minister, get out now. She has had the audacity to preside over a government which has allowed for generations, this is not just a Labour issue, it may be in mainly Labour areas, but it's a Tory issue just as much. Generations of young, innocent girls, predominantly white, but not only, some Hindu, some Sikh as well, a small number of black girls as well, but almost none of them Muslim,
Yes.
have been not only groomed, but gang raped and then sex slaved out.
Yep.
Many of them being underage as well. And there has been a conspiracy of silence on spurious grounds.
Yep.
I don't know how you can remain calm about this. From A,
I have to be.
the police, to Child Protective Services, who seem to be child endangerment services in this country instead,
There is massive corruption.
councils,
Yep.
members of parliament, council officials, as distinct from councils and councillors,
Yep.
the judiciary, the Crown Prosecution Service, and worst of all, journalists. I hope you're not a journalist.
Definitely not.
This conspiracy, on the grounds of political correctness, it is the height of political incorrectness to allow this sort of nonsense to have gone on for more than 20 years.
I despise
Shame on all those involved. Shame on all of them. If they had any shame, they would resign from their positions, and I would, left to me,
This guy.
confiscate have their pensions stopped, deprive them of NHS support,
Make an
and so on.
example. Make an example.
Make an example of them.
Yeah.
Use the law, the Proceeds of Crime Act, because many of them have benefited from this political correctness by getting votes.
Now, the system's rigged with the elections anyway, as we know, because they're the first past the post business, right? Now, in the last big elections, UKIP did exceedingly well, didn't they, right? Do you think they've done it in such a way that they've made it in such a way that it's almost impossible for you to gain power at the moment, because lots of people supported UKIP. I voted for UKIP at the time, and this was when we were all trying to leave the European Union.
I stood against Ian Duncan Smith in Chingford. I gave him a free ride in 2015, gave him a free ride in 2017 because he's a genuine Brexiter. And further, he had the testicular fortitude to not put up with the Cameron and Osborne lies in the cabinet. And he walked out of cabinet in the beginning of 2016, the referendum year, over the cheating and whatever the other cover story that was to do with cutting of benefits. This is what really happened, and he has nothing to be ashamed about for doing that. He acted on principle, something which is almost unknown and unseen. I have grave doubts about Boris Johnson, about the two speeches he had in his pocket, one to leave, one to remain. The one which was more likely to make him Prime Minister was produced, but that could be wrong. That's only my judgment.
No,
he is now doing the right thing. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to David Davis as well for doing the right thing. Shame on the others who haven't, though. What on earth are they waiting? Which part of leave do they not understand? I didn't happen to be born in this country, but I have no difficulty understanding what leave means. Leave means leave. Leave does not mean stay. There is no overlap whatsoever. We cannot possibly be in the customs union and say we have left. My classmates, who all happen to be of Indian extraction, think that Britain has gone mad. I'm inclined to agree
very
with
much
them.
so, but not because we wanted it to go that way. Because
well, who's the we? Who's the we? We consented to it by electing governments repeatedly, which have done this and perpetuated this nonsense. They are, in a real democracy, it is not we the people who should be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of us.
I agree with you, that totally.
This shameless shower want to make us afraid. They want to make the truth a crime. Truth should never be a crime.
I agree with you totally.
There should be no exceptions to that. Where it is simple matters of truth, however inconvenient, it has to, pardon this one, trump everything else.
Beautiful.
And I'm not even a particular fan of Donald Trump. He's better than the rest of the shower. They're certainly better than Hillary Clinton.
Oh, good God, yeah. Now, there's a question that people... We've all heard that Nigel Farage is coming back to lead the party. Is there any truth at all in that? Because this is what people are hearing, but Gerard Batten seems to be pushing forward with policies that people like. You know, he's actually talking about a subject that a lot of politicians won't talk about.
Nigel had a habit of talking about things which people didn't want to hear about as well then.
I agree.
Nigel has fought, as Gerard had. They're both... well, they've both been fighting this battle a lot longer than I have, so they've been through the wars more than I have.
Right.
And they have both said things which were unpopular and which people didn't want to hear them say. I remember in 2014, I was addressing a group of conservatives or wannabe conservatives. We infiltrated their public meeting, so they couldn't really throw us out. We were talking about NIMBYism there, and they didn't want particular housing blocks to be built in their backyard, not in my backyard, as you of course know. I brought up the matter of, I said, why are we ignoring the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room is mass uncontrolled immigration. Immigration, all countries need it. It's like water. A little bit you need to drink, too much you can drown. Find a balance. If you're going to accuse anyone, oh, the audience roared.
I was going to say,
roared largely in, they didn't want to hear it. Now they're listening.
That was in 2015. That is 4 years ago.
We have said things at a time when they're unpopular. Gandhi said many intelligent and clever things. This is, however, an intelligent and clever thing, which he did not say, but he probably would have said. At first, it's often attributed to him, but wrongly. At first, they ignore you, then they laugh at you.
Yeah.
Then they attack you viciously. Then you win, but they left out the last one, which is a Freddie invention. And then they all pretend they were on your side anyway. Now, we're clearly not reached the last one, but we have brought up the matter. I am very familiar with the immigration systems of a number of countries besides Britain, including the United States and India and several other of the old colonies. No one's calling them racist. So why are they calling Britain racist for this? What do we call a gentleman from Pakistan who believes that tourists to Pakistan are welcome? People who want to stay for longer are welcome, provided they meet certain, no doubt, stricter criteria than simply for tourists trying to obtain a tourist visa. What do we call such a person? We call him a Pakistani. What do we call a Malaysian who believes that the majority, however, of his country should remain Malaysian? We call him a Malay. No, we call him a Malay. We say it doesn't even require patriotism. But in Britain, if somebody says, look, at the end of the day, the rights of what was the overwhelming majority and still is the majority should be listened to as well. In Britain, you call such a person a racist. That is not right. That is the left wing lying, losing their arguments and trying to smear and throw mud without any cultural Marxist rubbish. And I speak as a first generation immigrant myself. I am ashamed to be a fellow human with these idiots. I mean, where were they when their brains were being given out? I mean, don't they really understand? They're signaling they've lost the argument when they make these ridiculous statements.
The other thing is, say you go up to them and you debate them.
You can't debate them.
Because they have no argument.
There is no argument.
No, there is no argument. So
I ask them why they're racist. That's what I use as my kickoff point with lefties.
You ask
them why they're racist. After they have... well, there's two things. If they're hard lefties, I've got two strings to my bow. That's because essentially, when they say they're not, they usually have eventually pluck up the courage to say so. I say, then why do you look down on Russians so much? And then they deny doing that. I said, of course you do, because you want to reintroduce communism. Communism, therefore, did not work in Russia because the Russians were presumably stupid or evil. No, communism didn't work in Russia because communism cannot work. Communism may work for humans a million years from now. It has no chance of working now. Works for ants, works for bees. We're not ants or bees.
It's great on paper.
So, it's great on paper. In practice, it ignores human nature. That is a fatal mistake. You can't ignore human nature. That's what makes us human. Yeah. All the other things it produces worse systems than capitalism. Capitalism is the very worst form of financial management that there is, except for everything else humanity has tried.
That's exactly it. It's terrible, but it's the best.
But the other thing to left-wingers who aren't so blatantly communist or just the general deluded, of course they're racist as well, because they want to be part of the EU. The EU is fundamentally racist in its nature because underpinning its policy of who is to be allowed to be in the EU and who isn't is this principle: Bulgarian good, New Zealander bad.
How does that work?
Romanian good, Indian bad.
Why is that?
Well, because they let one in and they don't let the others in. What's their thinking? I suspect it's because they've read Animal Farm, but no one told them. You see, they're not that bright. No one told them the difference between proscription and prescription. George Orwell was telling them, don't do it this way. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad is not a good way to run a country or have a fair system.
Right.
They can't get it. But then they can't do maths either, because if they could do maths, they wouldn't be socialists.
But
would
they got Diane Abbott on their side.
Yes, absolutely. She does the integral calculus for them. Yeah. And policemen are on, including employers' national insurance, tuppence an hour.
Yeah, I think so, wasn't it?
Yes,
yeah, it was
tuppence an
amazing.
hour. Tuppence an hour is what it works out.
She has the figures.
She has them. She has them correct, and we must rely on her because, as we all know, the ancient mariner has more than one gimbal and gimlet eye. He's not all there in every sense of the word. And in the troupe of clowns, the 3 central clowns, he's the one who possibly won't be there for that much longer. He will wander off somewhere, get lost, or something like that. We'll have Diane Abbott in number 10, and of course we know in number 11 we have the best friend of those who have the dearest and warmest interests of Britain at heart, like Hamas and Hezbollah, if not to mention various other groups which I fear to mention. He has he's guarding their back. I mean, he will do a marvelous job in number 11.
He won't call out any of those. But when he was also asked, is there a problem within Islam with grooming, he wouldn't say anything about that either, because...
Well, let's go to somebody else rather more famous than that idiot from wherever it is in the Hillingdon area that he stands. I've forgotten which of the 3 constituencies.
You must be talking about a certain person that's...
I'm now talking, John McDonnell. Let's leave that cretin aside, and let's talk now about one who certainly can't be a cretin, because she couldn't otherwise have been the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. Somebody called Cressida Dick.
Yeah, she's quite...
the hero of Operation Kratos. I had a T-shirt once. It said, "Please don't shoot me, officer. I'm not Brazilian." Not that I wish Brazilians to be shot, but Operation Kratos puts the lives of totally innocent Brazilians not only at risk, but then engages in a long cover-up to either bury the news or to pretend that he was an illegal immigrant. He wasn't. Pretend that he jumped over ticket barriers. No, he didn't. Pretend that he was wearing a huge heavy jacket on a hot summer's day. No, he wasn't. Pretend all sorts of things about him. He was just utterly innocent.
Was he shot 5 times in the head?
He was... cannot recollect quite how many times, but
There's a few.
They weren't slightly trying to put him down.
but it was
were
only a health and safety matter at the end,
Yes,
and therefore we have great faith in our judicial system,
Obviously.
which returns such results, and we promote the wonderful lady who was in charge of that operation. We promote her to be the commissioner of the Metropolitan Police.
She's very
She,
impressive,
however,
isn't she?
she's extremely impressive, and she has been hand in glove with Mr. Khan, the author of The Carnage in London,
Indeed.
where up to 900 officers have been diverted from frontline duties to patrolling for hurt feelings. This is when,
They're very important, though.
in the first full year of Khan's carnage as mayor of London, and let's be careful about these statistics, because my comparative year is a year running to the end of October, and this therefore would have included 5 months of his reign, even in the base year.
Yes, yes.
So the actual statistics are even worse. But
Brilliant.
yeah,
Okay,
because the base year includes 5 months of carnage.
So you're going to give him
And
some
the
charity.
I'm being very charitable to him, the maximum I can find in my heart. And the next 12 months have a full months of 12 months of carnage. It's all to do with carnage, because youth homicide is up 70%, 70. That was, and that's with a corrupted base figure, which includes 5.5 months of carnage in it. Knife crime is up 31%, and guess whose figures I'm quoting? Figures from the Commissioner of Police.
So that might be
So-
slightly manipulated in some way, possibly.
They don't have to be manipulated. I'm willing to take them at face value. If they are, it'll be even worse. They certainly won't have made them look worse than they are. They'll have made them look better.
Yep.
But let's just take the figures that have been published by the police. So what are we doing diverting officers from this? What are we doing trying to clamp down on free speech? This is insane.
Indeed.
Stop people stabbing themselves. You can't. Now, it's no use stopping somebody from stabbing somebody after they've been stabbed. I'm a physicist. Time machines are not possible, Mr. Khan.
You're-
They're not possible.
You're talking
You
about
stop
the,
them, stop and search
Yeah.
is what I'm going to be
Well, yeah,
talking
because
about.
at the end of the day,
You stop stabbings by catching the bad guys before they've stabbed somebody because they've gone out with a knife.
He's
And
got
they
the-
can't do it. And who stopped it? Khan.
he's got the fire brigade thing. Show up to the fire
He'll
rather than
probably,
stop the fire.
he'll probably have the fire brigade out of political correctness, not using water.
Common purpose as well.
I am not certain whether Mr. Sadiq Khan has been to common purpose. He probably didn't need to, it's built in. But it's Cressida Dick, though getting it out from her and her accessories was like pulling teeth without anesthetic, but she is a common purpose attendee.
I thought as much.
For those who don't know, yes, it took Freedom of Information request and a reminder or two, and eventually it came out. So
Fancy
not that
that.
there's anything wrong with common purpose. I'm sure it's all wonderful, and they learn how to enrich our society and make it safer for law-abiding citizens, like ISIS.
Beautifully worded.
Like
the
ISIS.
face gives enough away.
The
Yeah.
face gives more than enough away.
Indeed.
So
Rev,
the
this guy's
officers around
great.
here, I can only have their sympathy. They work for a Khan and a Dick.
Jesus Christ, you got it yourself there.
My sympathies are with them.
Right.
I wouldn't.
It's been absolutely
But
brilliant.
if
If you
we
just
need
wanted
the
to-
police, we need the police. Yes.
Yeah, we
I'm,
do.
I'm Freddie Varcher. I am the regional chairman from UKIP, and I've enjoyed pulling your leg.
Book him
Yeah,
on,
absolutely.
Rev. Book
Yeah,
him on.
lovely. Thank you very much, sir.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking.
Well, you got a career there, sir. Thank you. What a legend.
Seriously,
hell.
book him. He's amazing. The crowd love him.
Jesus, you're brilliant. Oh, there you go. I never expected that. Fucking what a legend. Now, I'm still going to say that I'm for Britain all the way. And I haven't got to interview as many people from Britain that I want to, but I dare say there's characters like that in there. But the more characters like that in politics would be a shitload more interesting than they are right now.
I love guys like that. I like the old don't give a fuck boys.
Can you imagine a couple of brandies and him?
Yeah. A couple of pints down his neck, a couple of cigars. You could have a right old laugh.
What a boy.
He's a
that's
bit of
great.
a lad.
Let's just see who else is out here. They seem to be interviewing. Oh, God, it should start again. We've got a lefty here, have we?
Hey, do you want to know something funny? While you were doing that interview at the beginning, I just got myself a job starting tomorrow.
What's the fucking chances? So you may now well not be coming on the trip, but that's, yeah, I can understand that, mate. I understand. You got a job just so you didn't have to sleep in a van with me and the other one.
I didn't want to get aerated. And me and you would be fighting over who was Big Spoon and
Yeah. Well,
by the way,
I'm wondering-
1,183 people now watching.
183.
No, 1,183.
Get on.
That'd be a
That's
record.
amazing, Paul. That's the biggest live stream I think we've done to date. Now, I wonder who else we could just pull in here, because seeing we've accosted loads of people so far, I could see if I know. I wonder if we could.
Freddie
It's a bit
Barker,
about-
that was his name. Freddie Barker, I think he said.
The bit about common purpose was great, wasn't it?
I think I was on the
It
phone
helps
there.
us and enriches us like ISIS. You know.
Yeah.
See, just so you know out there, when I do an interview, I cannot swear. But obviously, as soon as he's gone, I've got to top up.
Actually, yeah, somebody said there, if you want to get a lefty on for a laugh, it could be funny.
Well, let's see if we got one round here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with stereotypical here, but there's somebody with. No, I can't do it. She might not be a lefty, and I'm not going to misrepresent her, unlike they would have.
Just walk up to some bird and just be like, are you a lefty? I want to interview you if you are. Woo, I'm a lefty now. Turns out she's a hardcore communist. I'm not communist,
Well,
capitalist.
I've got to be honest. Let's just move over.
Well, that wee redhead there.
Lefty?
I don't know about a tap it.
Yeah. Mate, I ain't going to bother with that. They start talking about the Bible, for fuck's sake.
Oh, I don't know. I'd convert to that religion.
You convert to her, would you? Dirty
Oh,
boy.
look, what can I say? I have gingers are my kryptonite. You always have been. Always will be.
I've got to be honest, mate. It's a bit of a change from my local village. There's nothing spare. So if you're single, forget it. But there's a lot of women up here that are very nice looking. But unfortunately, you just know when you look in their eyes, they're lefties. It would just last about 30 seconds. It'd be like that rough sex, like two tigers rotting, but like punching it in the back of the head. They call that like kinky, like. But no, not interested. I am still single, by the way. Fucking not surprised. Right, let's have a quick look.
The stream is trending at number 5.
Oh, fuck off. Right, well, let's see if there's anybody else that wants to come on then. Gerald Batten was there, and I could have had an interview with him, but
Well,
he
no
fucked off.
reason not to.
I've got to be
No,
honest,
Sam.
I'm pretty sure the interview that we had was a damn sight more interesting. No disrespect, Gerard. You're not the liveliest bloke on a firm, are you? Anyway, look, fuck this, I need a pint. I'm going to get off, and we could do something about this later on if I'm still standing, but there's a very good chance that I might not be. So I will sign off now.
Yep.
And obviously, because I'm a Jewish shill, if you can send shekels to me, because obviously that's the case, because obviously, you know, I'm now a confirmed shill, that would be great. Meanwhile, cheers, buddy. Damn, I never got a pint with him. Meanwhile, that's it down from us in London and the High Courts of Justice. Sorry, I got that wrong. And I'll sign off, and I will let you close down the stream. And yeah, that'll be it.
Cool. Well, I'll say a final thank you to everyone that has tuned in. We have hit a record. Fantastic comments in the side chat. Sorry I couldn't get through much of them, but, you know, with the flow of the stream and all that, it's getting hard to cut people off halfway. But I did what I could. And, yeah, I will end it here. Toodle pip.